Good afternoon. We're going to do the watch list for the week of September 28th. There is only 3 days left in the month of September and in the quarter. So this could be a really volatile week. I'm expecting SPY to pop big. We get stimulus hype coming, I should say. Then we have, which will be good for BA and of course the stocks, but I've got a bullish list that's pretty big and the bearish list is very small, so we'll start with that in a second. If you're not in the room, the Discord link is in the description, links in the bio of Twitter and StockTwits and all that jazz. So we'll get right into it. Now I have SPY up already. Now the thing that's interesting on SPY is that I'll bring up the weekly. You can see on the weekly it just closed above the middle Keltner channel on the weekly, but you look at the MACD. The MACD is crossing over. I mean, it could be just a false, pop and just dump, but I'm expecting this week to probably get to 340 plus, then making probably another leg down. So I expect this week to probably pop a little bit. I could be wrong, but it did close over the middle Keltner channel on the weekly, and it almost touched the RCT trend line. So yeah, so I would watch SPY over 331 for a push to close the gap into the 340s, and it gets some strength behind it with the stimulus and other vaccine or anything else going. It could get pushed to 343, even 345. I don't see it going much higher than probably 350, but anything is possible. Now they just had the coronavirus death toll. It just hit 1 million worldwide, so number-wise 1 million is a pretty significant number, but there's also like 40 billion people. I might even be wrong, could be a lot more than 40 billion people on the planet, so statistically it's low, but it is a pandemic, so we'll have to see if something does the numbers start picking up in the next few months. Flu season's here, winter's coming, Game of Thrones little jab. So we will just play this week as a pop and drop. So yeah, so that's what I think on SPY. Now on the bullish, actually I'll start on the bearish list first because it's so small. Now if SPY is managed to be weak this week, QCOM, the thing I'm watching on QCOM, you get a head and shoulders, left head, right shoulder, and if it does get below this 109 area, it's gonna drop to the 100, and if it loses that, it's gonna fill the gap to 93. So if the market's weak, that's one I would definitely look at. As you can see on the weekly, it's just a rounding top. It's pretty extreme, and you have the weekly looks like it just wants to drop. So if the market's weak, that would be one of the first things I look at. Roku, same thing. I know Roku's up in a rising channel. You could say like a funnel, if you want to call it. But if the market's weak and there's a big sell-off, I would watch it underneath 177 for a push down to the 170 area, then to 165, then possibly a gap fill down here to 160 if it's really nasty out there. But like I said, if the market is strong, you could be ready to flip sides and take the other way. Don't be too one-sided, and be able to play both sides and flip on where strength is. So that's what I would do on the weak one. So Shack, another one. It looks just like QCOM, head and shoulders, left head, right, gets below 65. It's got, let me bring up the weekly. I mean, it breaks below that 65. I mean, it could come down here to the 60, even down to the 57 area, and if it's really nasty, I mean, it could probably get down to 50, but it would have to be pretty bad. Even the weekly, you got big head and shoulders, left head, and possible right. You can even say that's the right shoulder right there. So we'll have to, I mean, obviously it's not gonna, I highly doubt it's gonna get below 40 unless there's something really nasty out there happening, something really bad happens. So Baba is the last one on this side. You know, I always have a few on the weak side just in case the market's weak. These are the ones I'd watch for the biggest drops. Now I would watch it under 265. Yeah, 265, and if it gets below that, I would watch it to 260, 252 area, then down to the 250. Obviously, 250 is going to be a big psychological number. Even the 240, but that's a pretty big drop. But I mean, it's possible. It went from 299 to 267, so it made a 30-point drop in 3 days. So I mean, it can happen if the market's really nasty, or if there's like some kind of China news or some kind of more tensions with China comes up. I mean, you never know what could happen with China and Trump and stuff like that. So got to be. Now, I've never traded the stock, and this stock is coming all over my scanner. I've never ever traded it. I don't even know what it is. It's BDX. Now, it's coming up on all my scanners for a reversal. I mean, it does look pretty good down here at the 218 area. So I would watch for reversal. Probably I would 225 to 240, and if it gets over to 240 up to the 250 area. Now you can see this orange line is the RCT trend line. Anytime it gets too far disconnected, it comes out, meaning it popped up, came back, retested, popped up, came back, went below it, came back, and dumped, came back, then it popped up, came back. This RCT trend line is money. Anytime it's too far away from it, it always gets sucked back up to it. So BDX is probably going back to 250. It's just a matter of when, as you can see on the weekly. Let me bring the weekly up. I think I just showed the weekly out. Let me bring it out a little bit. Bring it out to 4 years. I mean, same thing. The RCT trend line is going up. I mean, it gets too far disconnected. It keeps going. So I would definitely watch that. I don't know what it looks like on options. If the spreads are nasty, if there's any volume on the options, just be careful. If you do play this, I probably won't. It's definitely one to watch. Just watch the volume on the options play. Next one is Lululemon. Obviously, be watching this. Market strong. It's probably going to pop again. Got a little inverted head and shoulders, left, head, right. I would watch it over the 320 level. For push to 330. It gets over that 330. It's going to close the gap at 350. So I would watch Lululemon. Shop is another one. Now the Christmas season's coming. I keep saying this the last few watch lists. That's the online shopping is going to pick up, especially if COVID picks up. Things could end up going to a voluntary lockdown again. So inverted head and shoulders right here, left, head, right. It gets over this, I would say like 970. It's probably going to push to 1,000. If it gets to 1,000, it could probably push to 1020 to 1040, 1050 area. Then I don't know if it has the strength to fill the gap. It could shop if it gets strength. Sometimes the thing just goes like crazy. EA is another one. Yes. EA, it's making like a reversal right here. As you can see, it's like got like a little cup and handle going. There's a cup and there's a little handle right here. You can even see it's an inverted head and shoulders, left, head, right on the hourly. So I would watch it over 132 for a push to the 138 area on EA if it does get some strength behind it. Netflix, I know I've been bashing Netflix, but I mean it looks like it's ready to go. And another inverted head and shoulders, left, head, right. I would watch it over 485 for a push to 490 into the 500s. If it does manage to get over 500 and keep going, I mean, it's got room to 510. So the RCT trend line's up here at 525. It could get to that, to the top of the Keltner channel. We'll have to see if Netflix is strong enough. Tomorrow's Monday. It's probably going to make a strong move tomorrow because option prices are going to be very expensive because that's just the way things happen to work out. Target, I haven't touched this one in a while. I mean, I've been bearish on it. I still think it's going to fill the gap, but it's at all-time highs. It's right there. I mean, it could break out. If it does break out over 1 to 155, area that it's going to push to the 156 and go to 160. So target could definitely break out. I mean, as you can see on the weekly, it pretty much did the same thing. Right here, right in here, you get the cup and you get the handle, and it broke it and just made a strong move up. Now, I'm not saying that target's going to 200. I mean, I don't think it will, but I mean, anything's possible. It could definitely go to 160, maybe even 170, and we'll just have to see how much strength gets behind it on target. So Facebook is another one. Facebook looks just making a rounding bottom right here, and gets over the 257. It's going to go to 260 right here, and there's a little gap right here on the hourly and daily at 263. They probably go to 270. If it gets over to 270, I mean, you probably can get into the 275 area on Facebook. So if Facebook breaks out of this little thing, it's going to make a strong move. So I would definitely watch Facebook. Apple, same thing. Inverted head and shoulders, left, head, right. I mean, it's like a downward head, slanted head and shoulders. But I mean, it does get over this 112.50, which will probably gap up. Gets to 115, gets to the 115 and breaks that, probably 118 to 120. So same thing with Apple. Shopping season's coming. People are going to be buying iPhones, iPads, AirPods, all the Apple stuff for Christmas. So their sales will start going up. BA, there's stimulus coming out for the airlines, so that will benefit the airlines. And there's other news coming out for the 747 Max, if that's what it's called. I can't remember the Max. But yeah, there's stuff coming out for that. So I would watch BA. BA is so tricky though. But before I get into that, watch it over 157 for push to the 160 to close the gap. Actually, it looked like it closed right here. Pretty close. Then a push to 165 to the 170. That if it does get some strength behind it, I mean, it's been topping out at the 180 levels for like forever. But BA is just so tricky. It has a strong day, and it gives all its gains back, or it just bleeds more, or just chops. So BA, you got to be very careful. But it's something that's gonna be beneficial for it, and the stimulus should help it. So we'll have to see what happens this week on that if the market's strong. Win. Now Vegas is still open. I would imagine that we're going to see some strength here. I mean, it's just bouncing between the 70 and the 90 area. So I think that, if it gets over the 73, it's going to probably get up here to 77 to the 80. And if it does manage to break 80, it's going to get a little bit of a gap up here at 82. So I would definitely watch Win to make a reversal. Now, also, it's kind of, let me pull up the weekly. The weekly's kind of got like a descending wedge right here. You get a trend line going right here, and you get a wedge right here. So there is a descending triangle going on. It could break down below, and if it does, I mean, I might take it down if it does drop, but I'm watching for the reversal here. So we'll have to see if Win actually makes the reversal. The last one is Tesla. I can't forget to put Tesla on the list. Everyone loves Tesla, and have to see what happens. Had a good day last week on Tesla. Now Tesla, same thing. Cup and handle. Here's the cup. Here's the handle. It gets over the 410 area. It's gonna push to probably the 420. Elon Musk's favorite number. It gets over 420. We're gonna push to probably 440. And if it does get some strength behind it, I mean, 460 is probably where I would think the top would be, but we'll have to see what kind of strength's behind it, and news, and if there's any catalyst that happens to come out, or Musk decides to just trash it again and say something stupid. I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens. We'll trade accordingly. But that's going to do it for the watch list. That's what I'll be watching. I think SPY is going to be strong this week. So I could be wrong, but I think we should have a big green week. Because, let's see, bring up SPY one more time. The thing I'm looking at on SPY is the month. Let me bring it up. Time frame, month. Let's bring up the 5 years. Now you get a big red candle on the month. If it does manage to close above like 351, I wouldn't be surprised if this monthly candle ends up turning green. So don't be shocked if this big red candle actually turns into a barely green, and be a good way to end the quarter. So don't be surprised if that does happen. So that's the one thing I keep in the back of my mind, that we could see a big push to 350 plus on SPY. So that's what I'm thinking. That's my thoughts. That's the watch list. Make sure you like the video and subscribe if you haven't, and if you know where the link is for the Discord room. So we'll see you there.